Dear students, in the last class we learned about the hazards of radioactive pollution. And now let us discuss two case studies of radioactive pollution, which is the Hiroshima and Nagasaki incidents. The immense destructive power of an atom bomb derives from nuclear fission chain reaction. That is, sudden release of energy is produced by splitting the nucleus, making up the bomb's core in a chain mechanism. The United States developed two types of atomic bombs during the Second World War and dropped them on Japan at two places in 1945. The first one was called the Little Boy and was dropped over Hiroshima, and the second one, called the Fat Man, was dropped on Nagasaki. They remain the only use of nuclear weapons in the history of the world. At 8:15 a.m. on 6 August 1945, during World War II, an American B-29 bomber, Christian Enola Gay, dropped the world's first deployed atomic bomb, the Little Boy, over the city of Hiroshima, Japan. The Little Boy was a gun barrel type atom bomb, and its explosive energy was derived from the nuclear fission chain reaction imposed upon fissionable uranium-235. The explosion wiped out a large portion of the city and immediately killed 80,000 people. Tens of thousands more died within months, and several thousand suffered over the next several years from the effects of radiation exposure. At 11:02 a.m. on August 9, 1945, 3 days after the Hiroshima bombing, the American pilot Major Charles Sweeney dropped the world's second deployed atomic bomb, Fat Man, over the city of Nagasaki, Japan, from a B-29 bomber named Bockscar. Compared to the one used on Hiroshima, the Nagasaki bomb was rounder and fatter, and so it was called Fat Man. It was called the implosion type bomb, and the destructive energy was derived from the nuclear fission chain reaction on fissionable material plutonium-239. More powerful than the one used at Hiroshima, the bomb was built to produce a 22,000-ton blast of TNT. However, the topography of Nagasaki, which was seated in narrow valleys between mountains, saved it some extent from the bomb's full destructive capability. But the bomb killed an estimated 40,000 people and inflicted injury and radiation exposure damage upon several thousands. Next is the Chernobyl accident or the Chernobyl disaster. Several serious accidents have caused concern about safety, about the function of reactors and disposal of radioactive waste. A terrible nuclear reactor accident was the Chernobyl disaster, which took place on April 26, 1986 at 1:21 a.m. at the Chernobyl nuclear power plant near Pripyat, a small city in Ukraine. The accident was the result of a damaged reactor design that was operated with inadequately trained staff. The explosion at the Chernobyl plant blew off the 1,000 metric tons concrete roof from the nuclear reactor, and the reactor caught fire. Two Chernobyl plant workers died on the night of the accident, and a further 28 people died within a few weeks as a result of acute radiation poisoning. The accident caused an uncontrollable radioactivity release into the environment, and large quantities of radioactive substances were released into the air for about 10 days. In fact, the explosion released was 30 to 40 times the radioactivity released by the atomic bombs dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. During the 10 days, about 5,000 tons of boron, dolomite, sand, clay, and lead were dropped onto the burning core from helicopters in an effort to extinguish the blaze and limit the release of radioactive material. A cloud of radioactive material gathered over the nearby town of Pripyat. 135,000 people were evacuated from the area within days after the accident and another 150,000 by 1991. Most of the flora and fauna in the surrounding area were also killed or mutated or irradiated. Acute radiation syndrome was originally diagnosed in 237 people on site, and several of them died later. There was an increased rate of thyroid cancer, leukemia, and genetic anomalies in thousands of area residents, particularly among children. In fact, within years, about 4,000 children were diagnosed to have thyroid cancer. Early detection saved most, but 9 succumbed to the disease. Even today, many suffer from illnesses that are related to exposure to the fallout from Chernobyl. In 2000, the last working reactors at Chernobyl were shut down and the plant was officially closed. Dear students, now let us discuss some of the local environment movements which were started to save our earth from the harmful effects of different types of pollution. Among the local environment movements, one that should be said with stress is the Save Silent Valley movement. Silent Valley is located in Palakkad district, Kerala, at the core of the Nilgiri Hills. The rich wildlife present there includes long-tailed makwa, Nilgiri langur, Malabar giant squirrel, Nilgiri tahr, human langur, tiger, elephant, leopard, etc. In 1973, the Kerala Electricity Board or the KSEB announced the plans for constructing a 240 megawatt hydroelectric project called the Silent Valley Hydroelectric Project over the Kundipura River flowing through the Palakkad and Malappuram districts. The work for the project began by 1976. The project was submerged in forest land of the Silent Valley region, and this attracted the attention and protests of environmentalists all over Kerala and also from other parts of India. Romulus Whittaker was probably the first eminent person to draw public attention to the atrocity imminent on the small and remote area of Palakkad. The poet activist Sugatha Kumari played an important role in the so-called Save Silent Valley movement, and a poem, Marathini Stuti, became a symbol for the protest from the intellectual community. Many environmentalists, scientists, non-governmental organizations, and common people all over India joined the movement. The government of Kerala, however, went ahead with the project and in 1979 passed legislation to execute the project area from the proposed national park. But in 1982, the central government created a multidisciplinary committee with Professor M.G.K. Menon as chairman to decide the feasibility of the hydroelectric project without any significant ecological damage. In 1983, the committee submitted its report highlighting the ecological significance of the area. After a careful study of the Menon report, the central government decided to abandon the project. On 1st September 1986, the Prime Minister of India, Rajiv Gandhi, declared the region as a national park or a Silent Valley National Park. The grand success of the Save Silent Valley movement became the source of inspiration for similar agitations throughout India. In 1999, the Hindustan Coca-Cola Beverages Limited, the manufacturer of aerated drinks, erected a factory in 38-acre plot in Plachimada, a sparsely populated tribal area of farmers in the Pirimati Panchayat in Palakkad district, Kerala. In 2000, the factory was assumedly producing nearly 5.61 lakh liters of aerated drinks a day, drawing around 2 million liters of groundwater per day from the 6 borewells and 2 ponds dug in the compound. Though the company faced no protests initially, the situation changed within months when the local community of tribals or the Adivasis realized that the water table was receding and the quality of groundwater was deteriorating alarmingly through the operations of the plant. The alkalinity and the hardness of groundwater were found very much raised, and the samples of sludge and slurry dumped from the factory were suspected to contain toxic carcinogenic metals like lead and cadmium. The residents of the area started a movement demanding the immediate shutdown of the plant owing to the severe hazards it was posing to their daily lives. Several political parties, eminent environmentalists, and NGOs later joined the residents in their fight against the company. On 7th April 2003, the Perimati Panchayat decided not to renew the license of the plant, citing reasons of excessive exploitation of the groundwater by the Coca-Cola company. Environmental problems due to the presence of hazardous and toxic substances in waste emitted by the company were also present, and there was a scarcity in drinking water. The company put up an aggressive legal battle against the decision with some success so that the plant continued to operate until 2006. As the Kerala government took a stand against the plant, it was eventually shut down in 2006, and no operations have taken place at the plant since then. The Hindustan Coca-Cola Beverages Private Limited informed the Supreme Court of India in July 2017 that it had no plans to restart operations in the Plachimada plant. It can now be safely assumed that the people have won and that the curtain has finally come down on the tireless agitation for 15 years by the residents of Perimati Panchayat. The Save Narmada movement. In 1978, the Indian government sought the World Bank's assistance to build a series of dams, 30 large dams, 135 medium schemes, and 3,000 minor schemes along the Narmada River, which flows along the states of Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh, and Maharashtra, as part of the Narmada Valley Development Project or the Narmada Project. The Sardar Sarovars project of Gujarat was to have the largest dam. The project had a vision providing potable water for almost 40 million people and irrigation water for over 6 million hectares of land and hydroelectric power for the entire region. The project also promised to provide employment, check floods, supply water for domestic and industrial use, and promote tourism. But it threatened to submerge vast areas of forest and agricultural land. The local residents, mainly the tribal people and the farmers, were threatened to be affected, and they, with the help of environmental activists, professionals from the academic, scientific, and cultural worlds, founded a cluster of non-governmental organizations or NGOs in order to assert the rights of the people and to ensure justice. They mobilized opposition and various measures of agitation against all parts of the project, principally against the Sardar Sarovar project. The agitation gained strength in the late 1980s when the organizations opposing the project allied to form the Narmada Bachao Andolan or NBA or the Save Narmada movement. The movement was led by the social activist Mehta Patkar and Baba Amte, who are the recipients of various awards including the Right Livelihood Award of 1991. The NBA activists organized and participated in several public meetings, rallies, marches, demonstrations, hunger strikes, dharnas, satyagrahas, mass media awareness campaign, and court actions. In view of the agitations and petitions put forth by the Narmada Bachao Andolan, the World Bank eventually withdrew its offer for support in the project in 1993. The work on the Sardar Sarovar Dam had to be halted from 1994 to 1999. However, the NBA neither could get verdicts against the project from court nor could make the government withdraw from the project. The whole project is expected to be completed in 2025. Though the Save Narmada movement could not fully achieve the goals, it could get verdicts from various courts in favor of better settlement and rehabilitation of the affected people. It was one of the longest struggles for justice in the post-independent India and gained worldwide support. Next, let us learn about the Pollution Control Board, its duties and responsibilities. The Central Pollution Control Board and the State Pollution Control Boards have been constituted for the prevention and control of pollution in India, particularly those of air and water. The boards have their functions, which are defined through various acts. First, let us discuss the functions of the Central Pollution Control Board. The duties and responsibilities of the Central Pollution Control Board are to advise the central government on matters concerning the improvement of quality of air and water, to lay down the standards for the quality of air and water, to provide technical and financial assistance as well as guidance to state boards in the various fields of pollution control, to organize training in special methods for persons engaged in the prevention and control of air and water pollution, to plan and execute nationwide programs for the prevention and control of all kinds of pollution, to spread awareness through mass media among the general public about comprehensive programs regarding prevention and control of all kinds of pollution, to coordinate the activities of the state boards and resolve dispute among them, to collect, compile and publish technical and statistical data relating to air and water pollution and their prevention. Now let us discuss about the functions of the State Pollution Control Board or the SPCB. Each state will have its own pollution control board. The duties and responsibilities of a State Pollution Control Board include to advise the state government on matters concerning the improvement of quality of air and water, to advise the state government about the sustainability or non-sustainability of granting permission for any industry with regard to the possibility of pollution, to identify problematic areas within the state eligible to be declared as pollution prevention and control areas in respect of air pollution or water pollution, to plan a comprehensive program for the prevention and control of air and water pollution, to modify and determine the standards for air and water quality in the state in consultation with the central government and state government, to lay down standards for the treatment of sewage and industrial effluents as well as for the exhaust gases from industrial plants. To inspect any industrial plant, manufacturing process, or any implemented pollution control mechanism. To provide technical and financial assistance as well as guidance in implementing pollution control at all levels in the state. And to sponsor research in the field of pollution control in the state. Thank you.